Hi. Guess what movie we're here to talk about today? I'll give you a hint. It starts with I. Or F. For France.
Okay.
Joke for nerds. Anyway. Yeah, so obviously we were talking about Captain America 2, the movie right now everyone's talking about it, everyone's raving about it.
As they should, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm pretty much right there with them. I loved this movie. I thought it was fantastic.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's actually my second time seeing it, much as that I know it pisses you off just a little bit, because you wanted to see this as much as I did.
I wanted to see it on Friday, but I waited. I waited to hear from you.
I had work Friday night. It was a last minute plan. I didn't know there was a show at 8:45 on Thursday until about a couple hours beforehand. So,
Fair enough, but like I said, I'm not waiting next time.
fair enough. Anyway, so yeah, Captain America 2, The Winter Soldier. Easily the best, if not the best Marvel movie they've released so far.
Really? You like it better than the Avengers?
It's up there. Like, it's as good, I think, if not better, in my opinion.
It definitely has more plot development.
Well, yeah, there's that. I mean, granted, the Avengers had a lot going on for it, too. I mean,
absolutely. Don't get me wrong. I love the Avengers.
No, it's like, because Captain America 2 is like, I kind of read this in an article, and I pretty much agree with him. It's like one part spy thriller, other part like conspiracy, kind of cheesy 70s political thriller, and then one part superhero movie.
Yeah, it kind of made me think of The Bourne Identity meets the Marvel Universe.
A little bit. Like, that's kind of what I liked about it. It's like, on its own, without the superhero elements, this would still be a damn good movie.
Yeah.
But it just helps that it has all its canon build on from the previous movies. And, of course, saves a lot of having to establish a lot of things from before. I mean,
but it does have nods and throwbacks to the last Captain America movie.
Oh, of course. And, of course, there's actually a lot of fun little nods to the rest of the Marvel Universe, stuff that has not made it to the movies yet. Like, there's actually a Doctor Strange reference in there very, very fast.
Really?
Yeah. We'll get to that reason. That goes deep into spoiler territory.
Fair enough.
But the word Stephen Strange is thrown around for like a split second. It's like one of those blink and you'll miss it Easter eggs. But I didn't notice it the first time. I only caught it this time. I was like, oh shit! Doctor Strange exists in this universe. Awesome! Can't wait for that movie.
Sweet.
So yeah, if you've not seen this movie or if you don't know what it's about, stop right now.
We both highly recommend it. We're about to go into spoiler territory. It is a fast-paced, fun, highly enjoyable shoot 'em up, suspenseful, conspiracy superhero thriller.
Yeah, pretty much. The action scenes are fucking intense.
They are.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
like the first time I saw this, there was parts I couldn't stop. I was like, oh shit! Like very loudly, louder than I usually let myself get in theaters.
Yeah, I had a few moments like that, except
Yeah, I know. I heard you a few times. You were getting into it. I was watching you. No, it's a good thing. No, I'm not judging at all, but
I was enjoying
No, you don't have to defend yourself. I was like, oh shit, oh my god. That's the second time watching it, I was like, oh, because I'm starting noticing things I missed the first time around. I was like, oh crap. But anyway, so stop watching now, or if you don't care, just keep watching anyway. If you've already seen it.
Yeah, we're going into spoilers. You have been warned.
Yep. So basically, the movie revolves around Hydra. The second time around. They've been very careful to keep this whole plot element very, very secret. The only real indication we've ever had that Hydra's even involved is the casting choice for the character Baron von Strucker, who we see at the end credit scene. But that was the end credit scene, so we're kind of willing to let that one slide as far as spoiler territory goes. But basically, what the movie is, it starts off as a spy thriller, a very cool spy thriller, as we see Captain America after the events of course, the Avengers, where we finally get to see him try to like adjust in the new world, which something we didn't really get to see in the Avengers movie.
Yeah, because that was just thrown into the action.
Yeah, because of course we didn't have time to. We had Thor, we had Iron Man, we had all these other characters throw in there too, so we only get a very brief glimpse at it. Here we get a much better look at it, and really I thought just the characterization of this movie is very, very well done.
Yes, I love Chris Evans in this role.
Oh yeah, like looking at it now.
He's super dreamy.
Well, just not only that, it's like he just captures the character of Captain America just very, very well in a way like quite frankly, I don't think anyone expected when the casting choice was announced. But it's like now we're all looking, it's like we can't believe we ever doubted him as Captain America, and I was like, I'd follow him to hell and back. I would. Get all that. People like, what the hell are they doing? But no. So again, Chris Evans return. I hear Chris Evans plans to retire the character after Captain America 3, and Avengers 3. I'm sorry, that's what it is, because apparently he's just like, yeah, I'm pretty much tired.
Okay. The odds of Chris Evans seeing this are astronomical, but as a member of the female audience, please don't go.
Well, we have Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Not as good.
Like I said, he's super dreamy.
Alrighty. I have nothing to add to that. Although, oddly enough, no shirtless scenes with male or female counterparts in this movie.
Which, as a feminist, I appreciate.
Yeah, so Scarlet Witch is... not Scarlet Witch. We'll get to Scarlet Witch. Black Widow is also in this movie, played against by Scarlett Johansson. I'm really digging into Scarlett Johansson the past couple of years. Like, not just, in fact, she's drop dead gorgeous, but the fact she's a genuinely really good actress. She's
been making some excellent character choices.
Oh yeah, so I love to hear she got a lot more depth in this movie than she did in the Avengers or in Iron Man 2. So I was very like, there's just a lot more characterization in this. We got to see like the character, like things we missed from the first event, like the first Avengers, which is like Captain America meeting what was the name of the girl from the first movie? Peggy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. I can never remember her name. It's been a while since
I think it's like Peggy or Becky or something like that.
I think so.
Something along those lines. We got to see like him interact with her for the first time. We got to see him like try to like catch up with the world with a little list, which I liked. You catch a little blip where it says Star Wars and it had it crossed out and said Trek next to it.
And it towards the bottom of the list, it said like Rocky 2 or...
Yeah, it said Rocky, and then next to it said Rocky 2 with a question mark. So we never gets to Rocky 4. But, and then also introduced, of course, as the big new introduction of the movie is the chorus of the Falcon.
Now, I don't know anything about the comic books or the universes. I've never read them, so just as a member of the audience in this film, I like the Falcon. He's cool.
Yeah, I forget. I don't know the actor who plays him. I forget his name, but he does a really fun job. But he's clearly having fun with it.
Yes.
And he's clearly just wants to be there. You hear him in interviews too. He just wants like, I've been dying to be in a Marvel movie for years.
Awesome.
He says he's auditioned like 16 times for different movies, like basically begging them to throw him in a Marvel movie. Like he says, like, I'll be the guy who goes, "Hey, your hammer's over here, Thor," or something like that. Until finally they said, "Okay, stop. When we want you, we'll call you." And like 6 months later, they called him about the Falcon. So
nice.
So that's how I got the part for this movie. Is let's keep throwing your name in the door, basically.
Persistence pays off, and I think this role suits him.
No, it does very well, and of course the special effects of the wings Falcon is very, very cool.
Oh, it is amazing.
And that's one thing I really like this movie too, is that there's actually not, like, I don't like the very third act. There's really not many special effects here.
Well, there is some pretty incredible fight choreography and green screen use.
Yeah, of course there's green screen use and stuff like that, but I'm talking about like the action sequences, like the car chases. It's mostly practical effects, and it's very impressive stuff. There's actually 4 Marvel villains in this movie. Even one that's basically a joke in the Marvel universe, and I don't know much about him. The first one they have here is okay. So let me back. The movie starts with introduction of the Falcon, also known as Sam. I forgot the character's last name. Who his first meeting with Captain America. Now, for those who don't know, in the comic books, basically the Falcon is like Captain America's on again, off again sidekick.
That makes sense.
Basically, it's like Captain America's like, if you need someone to help, they'll call the Falcon, and they'll hang out for a little while, they'll do some superhero stuff, and they'll go their separate ways. So that's so they have very long comic book history. So that's kind of what the point of the introduction was. And I'm assuming they'll use it more in Captain America 3, which
hope so.
which has already been announced. So I'm assuming it's implied they're gonna build more on it. In the comic books, he has a much more ridiculous, like, red and white spandex thing going on, more than the military thing. Actually, it was funny in an interview, the actor was saying how disappointed he was that there was no spandex.
Really?
It's like, I know they're gonna advance it in the future movies, and I hope they make it more ridiculous, because I've really worked on my body, and I was really looking forward to some spandex. And I was really disappointed that they didn't throw that in there.
I thought guys tried to avoid wearing spandex full body suits.
Hey, you know, when you work out hard enough, you want to show it off.
Fair enough.
Speaking of someone who wears a Spider-Man onesie every week. Well, mostly every week. But,
Yeah, and you wore it to the KSGS meeting a week or two ago.
yeah, I don't expect people on the website to get, on the YouTube page to get that joke. But, anyway. So, but after their meetings, Black Widow comes in and says, like, hey, we have a mission for you. And off they're out going a spy thriller to release, like, to free hostages that are stuck in a boat that is apparently run by S.H.I.E.L.D., which is being held hostage by, I think it's called Barnock or something like that.
Some European language word that I didn't quite catch.
But for the hardcore comic book fans, we also know this character as the Leaper, which is an actual thing.
Really?
Yes, and his name is basically a superpower. So,
Okay.
so he's basically in like the Z list of superhero villains. But here they actually make him pretty badass. So it's actually kind of impressive. He's like a French guy who jumps and is really good with his feet. That's basically the Leaper in a nutshell.
So he's a gymnast?
Basically. Keep in mind, he was created in an age where anything can make you a fucking superhero or a supervillain. If you do your taxes well enough, you could have been a taxidermist or something.
Seriously?
I'm making a very rough generalization.
Oh, okay.
But there was a superhero villain for a while called the Calculator. Who literally wore a giant calculator suit.
Okay.
He's been since revamped.
I'd imagine so.
And there was also Wonder Woman villain named Egg Foo. I'm not making that up.
Okay then.
It was an egg with a giant, stereotypical Chinese mustache. Again, you can't make some of this shit up.
No, you can't.
Comic books. Okay. Anyway, I love them, but let's face it, they can be stupid sometimes. But
All fiction can.
yeah, pretty much. But anyway, so Captain America goes on the ship. They do he does this whole spy thing, which is fucking awesome. And then he has a big showdown with the Leaper, which again was pretty funny, which is pretty fucking awesome too. Again, they made him badass. Go figure they pulled it off. Just take away the silly costume, have him do some kickboxing, and it works. Go figure. But meanwhile, it turns out that Black Widow has her own mission. Black Widow also gets, of course, some great fight scenes in this movie too.
Oh yeah. I always enjoy seeing Scarlett Johansson kick ass.
Oh yeah, she does it very, very well.
Indeed.
I'll be very curious to see what they do with her in Avengers, now that apparently she's pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I heard about that.
Yeah, so I don't know what they're gonna do with that. But,
Well, she is good with computers. Maybe she'll just have a stunt double more. I don't know.
we will find out. So, anyway, meanwhile, it turns out Black Widow's got her own mission trying to get S.H.I.E.L.D. intel from the ship while they're at. Meanwhile, there's another S.H.I.E.L.D. agent who's actually appeared before in Marvel Productions. He was a Marvel one-shot that short that was released with the Avengers DVD.
I still need to get that.
You haven't got the Avengers DVD yet?
Mm-mm.
Oh my goodness. Just got the big old box set that comes with like everything.
Okay.
Including like all the previous Avengers movies. But
Really?
yeah, that's like a huge box set. But
Damn.
yeah, it's pretty impressive. But yeah, so they find that, and of course they free all the hostages. Obviously, they get back on the ship, and this is when it gets more into like more conspiracy territory, as Captain Steve Rogers is a little pissed at Nick Fury, once again played by Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson, by the way, given much more to do here.
Yes, he plays much more of an impactful role in this film than he has in previous.
Pretty much, you get to see more of Nick
films.
Fury like as a character rather than just as the presence than you do in pretty much any other Marvel movie so far.
Yeah, he's more well-rounded, and you get to know him better, and he's not just the instigator of the action. He actually plays a part in it.
Yeah, so he basically after a confrontation between him and Rogers, he takes him down to like a level 10 area where we get a look at what's called Project Hindsight, which is like a...
I thought it was Insight.
Insight. I'm sorry, not Hindsight. Maybe that's a project came after the movie. Project Hindsight. What don't we do next time?
Pretty much.
Step 1, intensive background checks.
Yeah, kind of necessary.
Yeah. But yeah, that's actually a pretty good idea. Or Captain America 3. We tried Project Insight, that didn't work. Now Project Hindsight. It's like South Park. Now time for Project Can't Possibly Fail a Second Time. Anyway, so basically Project Insight is like where they have 3 giant helicarriers with 5,000 freaking guns attached to it that basically targets and kills pretty much any major terrorist they can identify or anyone that really perceive as a national threat.
AKA free thinkers.
Free think. Yeah, well, yeah, it's implied. But, or at least at the very, very end's implied. This one is more applied for counter-terrorism acts. But
Yes, if you have a mind of your own and cannot be controlled or swayed or influenced or bought, you will be a target.
I don't think that's quite what Nick Fury was saying. That's what Hydra says later, but
Yes.
yeah, but again, that comes later, and that's where Doctor Strange's name is dropped, by the way.
Okay.
You know what Doctor Strange is, right?
No.
Okay, Doctor Strange is also known as the Master of Mysticism in the Marvel Universe. He's basically like the head mystic.
Cool.
Knows all the magic shit. Anyway. But anyway. You're going along with me before, so I just assumed you knew who he was.
If it had a animated cartoon on Fox in the 80s or 90s, I watched it, but I don't remember that character.
Fair enough. Okay. So, meanwhile, while this is going on, Nick Fury tries to like access the data on the drive size, finds for some reason that he can't, and of course that makes him very paranoid. And
rightfully so, by the way.
Rightfully so. And since the Avengers, they now have Shield has a huge base of operation called the Triskelion. I think is how you pronounce it.
That's kind of how I sounded it out in my head. I don't know, but your guess is basically as good as mine.
So I think it's called the Triskelion. It's taken directly from the Ultimate Avengers comics. I know that because that was my first introduction to the Avengers was through the Ultimate series. So I recognized Triskelion right away. Immediately recognized it. But obviously they've grown much more as a bigger presence since the Avengers. Now they're like a full-fledged, like everyone depends on them to basically solve all the world's problems. And pretty much soon after we figure out, he goes to... Who played the secretary? Alexander Pierce. Not the actor, that was the name of the character.
The one with brown hair?
Yeah. He's a legendary actor. He was in a movie not too long ago, I think it was where he was shipwrecked.
I don't know, it's escaping my memory, I'm sorry.
No worries. Either way. There's another character named Alexander Pierce. He's basically like Nick Fury's boss, basically. He leads like a world council.
It kind of... I don't know if it's him, but he kind of made me think of Martin Sheen.
Definitely not Martin Sheen.
Yeah. That type.
Yeah. Anyway. I'm gonna look it up while I talk about this. Because it's gonna bug me. So... What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. And basically, this guy, who Alexander Pierce, is like a secretary, basically in charge. Basically keeps all the council people in line while being the big picture guy.
Yes, and he does have a big picture in mind.
Yes, again, revealed later on throughout the movie.
Yes.
And basically says, hey, Nick Fury goes to him and says, hey, something weird's going on. We need to delay the project for a while. I say, okay, I'll talk with them, see what we can do, yada, yada. And pretty much shortly thereafter, we get our first, like, really, really intense, like, chase scene.
Yes, if you are already paranoid about the police, this sequence will not help you.
But, man, what a great fucking scene.
It took me a few seconds to realize, oh, they aren't real cops. They're just dressed like it and
Really? It took you that long to figure that out? I kind of figured after like the first crash, I was kind of the giveaway that something weirder was going on.
Yeah, I think by the second crash, I connected the dots, but I was taught to trust the police because they are there to serve and protect, not come after you with guns and grenades.
And that they do.
Yes.
So basically, Nick Fury is driving along. And he sees some cops aside. He makes some. I almost thought he was gonna make a Martin Lawrence joke. Just go, no, I'm not Martin Lawrence, and then drive away. I know if you know the whole conspiracy behind that. Not conspiracy, controversy behind that.
No.
Basically, there was after the Super Bowl, there was a reporter who confused Samuel L. Jackson with Martin Lawrence and credited him on the Super Bowl commercial. He did it with the
Oh no.
the Morpheus thing.
Oh,
So
no.
since then, he's wearing shirts like, no, I'm not Martin Lawrence. Basically, Samuel Jackson just ripped him a new one live on the air. Meanwhile, the reporter's like, oh my god, I'm an asshole, I'm an idiot, I'm so sorry. It's kind of been a running joke ever since. Robert Redford, that's right.
Oh, okay. Oh wow. He was in a movie with Barbra Streisand in the 70s. That's definitely a character switch.
Yeah, so you have very well-known actor. I knew, for some reason I was thinking Michael something, but I knew that wasn't right. But anyway, Robert Redford plays Alexander Pierce, who's the secretary, basically, of the World Council, or something along those lines. Anyway, so I was talking about the chase scene with Nick Fury.
Yes. A lot of very violent, very determined cops are coming after him through traffic with machine guns and grenades and what looked like a small missile or something.
Something like that. Basically, he gets trapped. There's a pretty cool like spy shit stuff with the cars with a little kid playing next to me, so I'm gonna watch my language.
Always a good call.
And there we go. Okay. So all that stuff goes on. Meanwhile, like after a big, long, extended chase scene. By the way, the people who direct this movie are not known for thrillers, so the fact they managed to pull this off on their first try is actually pretty remarkable. And in fact, I would argue it's easily the best thriller action movie I've seen all year.
I haven't seen many of that genre this year, so I would have to agree with you.
Yeah, granted, there's not much competition. I think the closest one they have is Non-Stop, but
Yeah.
But after all that goes down, then we get introduced to the movie's kind of sort of main villain, which is the Winter Soldier. Obviously, the character the movie's named after. Big character in the comic books, and also, oddly enough, the most recent creation in the entire movie. Winter Soldier's not that old of a character. I think he's maybe a decade old.
Oh, wow.
So he's actually not too long ago, but he has such a huge impact on the Captain America mythology. And he's made such a big impact in the comic books as a whole, which is why he's become why he's getting his own movie, pretty much. Either way, the Winter Soldier in this movie is easily the best villain since Loki.
Definitely the most formidable.
This guy is fucking terrifying.
Yes.
Because he just carries such a huge presence. And it feels like an unstoppable force.
He's basically a very intense, very quick, very strong killing machine.
He's basically the closest thing Marvel's come so far to a Terminator.
Yeah.
Pretty
much.
For lack of a better way of phrasing it, because if you don't know who the Winter Soldier is from the comic books, he's in all the trailers. He's the guy with the big shiny metal arm, mask, and eyewear thing. Of course, has a very big impact for the Captain America mythology. Not as much in the movies. In the comic books, it was a significantly bigger deal.
Oh, really?
Because
I would say that the twist is a pretty big deal.
It is a pretty big deal. But of course, in the movie, again, incredible spoiler here.
Yes, we are deep into spoiler territory, so if you are still watching and you have not seen it yet, stop this vlog and go and see Captain America Winter Soldier, because we are about to spoil a lot.
Yeah, so basically, it turns out the Winter Soldier is Bucky Barnes, who is Captain America's best friend from the first movie and in the comics. Now, the big difference here is, first off, in the comic books, Bucky Barnes during World War II was a little kid. Or like my kid in his teenage years.
Okay.
Kind of like a Batman and Robin kind of thing. But in the comic books, Bucky Barnes was dead for decades. I mean, not like comic book years, like literal, decades. Like, they killed him off in the old World War II days. Hasn't been seen since. So it's like, he's kind of one of the characters like Uncle Ben. It was one of those, unspoken rules. You do not bring Bucky back from the dead. It was like, because the rule of death in comic book is pretty loose. everyone who dies comes back within a year later. Pretty much. But it's like, there's some characters you do not bring back. You do not bring back Uncle Ben. You do not bring back Gwen Stacy. You do not bring back Bucky.
So, you're saying in the comic books, Bucky was killed off in World War II era.
Yeah, and then
around that actual time, not just in World War II era in the comic books.
Yeah, I might be wrong about that. Comic book aficionados can correct me on that.
And they decided to bring him back in the early 2000s?
Yes, basically. And back then, nobody saw this coming. It was a huge deal. Godzilla actually surprised.
Did it piss a lot of people off?
It did piss a lot of people off. But again, it was written by Ed Brubaker, who ran the Captain America series for a long time. Incredible writer, by the way. I dropped my cell phone. It's in the bottom here. It's bugging me. I'll grab it later. It's always aggressive. One place you can't fucking reach it. Hey, I'll grab it later. Anyway, but in the comic book, back in the days when it was first announced, this was a huge deal. Very controversial move.
Clearly.
But and they pulled off in such a great way that at this point nobody cares. That's kind of how comic books work. It's like, we'll be pissed off when you first try to do something. If you do it well enough, we'll forgive you. It's pretty much how it goes.
That sounds about right.
So again, that's why it was like such a huge deal when it was first done in the comic book days, as it turns down the movie, where you already have Phil Coulson has come back from the dead. Now bringing back Bucky is not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But so yeah, and before we get to that point, though, a lot of shit happens between then and that reveal, of course. And of course, one thing that pissed me off with the marketing is Marvel fucking pretty much spoiled what should have been biggest twist in the movie after the fucking, like, there's a little half-hour short talking about the Marvel Universe thing, and they fucking spoiled it there, like, 2 weeks before the movie came out. I was like, thanks, assholes.
Yes, that's not very smart marketing.
I mean, granted, anyone who's read the comics knows this twist. It's pretty well known at this point. Everyone knows that everyone who reads comic books, I should say, knows Bucky Barnes is the Winter Soldier, and actually eventually takes out the Captain America mantle. But,
well,
for those who don't know, it's like, oh, thanks, guys. Really? You have to be that guy? All right, fine.
Yes, like I said, this character is new to me, so I'm very curious to see if he gets his memory back, if he gets, for lack of a better phrase, himself back, instead of just being a killing machine.
But what a killing machine he is. Like, every action he's in is just so intense.
Yes, very much so. I can't think of any other word for it.
I mean, it's like, it's edge of your seat, just like gripping the little handrails, and it's like, oh my god. But before we get to this point, obviously a lot of stuff happens between then and there. First off, the second villain that's in this movie is a villain called Crossbones, who is the mercenary guy we keep seeing pop out throughout the movie. He has a final showdown with Falcon at the end of the movie.
Oh, okay. The douchebag with dark hair.
Yeah. In the comic books, he has kind of more like a ski mask with a skull on there. I'm assuming they're kind of saving that for the next movie, because you see in the very end of the movie, he's all burnt up and all that shit.
Yes, he's quite disfigured.
But he's more of a mercenary, not that big of a well, actually, I take that back. He is the one that does eventually end up killing Captain America in the comic books. Not a spoiler, by the way. That was on the news. It was, actually was. It was actually kind of surprising. But where was I going with this? Oh yeah. So after the big showdown happens, and Nick Fury barely manages to escape and goes to Captain America's apartment. Meanwhile, across the hall is a nurse named Kate. Not really named Kate, but more on that later.
Yes. And
Nick Fury kind of basically tries to sneakily tell him without saying out loud. He does it with like showing a message on his phone because his apartment's bugged. That, hey, some weird shit's been going on. S.H.I.E.L.D.'s infiltrated.
And trust no one.
Trust no one. Here's the data disk thing that we took off the ship. Guard it with your life. Right before Nick Fury gets shot 3 times through the chest by the Winter Soldier.
As from outside Captain America's apartment.
And by the way, Captain America takes a fucking beating in this movie.
He does. You actually see him bleed.
Like, I mean, just gets the shit knocked out of him over and over and over again. But it surprisingly gets no broken bones. Like, I was surprised, like...
well, he is the super soldier.
Yep, and also turns out the nurse across the way is also another reference from the comic books, which is Agent 13, also known as Sharon Carter. whose first name is only given at the very end of the movie, but Sharon Carter is actually a love interest of Captain America's in the comic books.
Nice.
And also the niece of Peggy Carter, who is his love interest in the first movie.
A little incestuous.
A little bit, but try not to think about it too hard. Well, they only kissed once, so really, not that bad.
He apparently has a type.
Go figure. Except no accent on this one, which is kind of disappointing. But, you know, they can't all have sexy British accents.
True
but,
enough.
Anyway, so after this all goes down, Nick Fury is presumed dead. Of course he's not. I didn't buy that for a second. I don't know if you did.
I did. I guess I'm a sucker. I don't know.
No, it's because they revealed he's not dead in the trailers. Because they show that scene where he says, "Well, I guess you're giving the orders now, Captain," which shows him perfectly fine. And that's even...
Yes, but the thing about trailers is that they don't show events in sequence. They pick the best parts to encapsulate.
True, but we didn't see that scene any point before he supposedly died. And if you look at the trailer, you see him with, like, bruises and, like, ham and everything. So clearly he survived. I guess that's only because I must have seen, like, the trailer 5,000 times. But that I noticed it. But I was like, no, he's not dead. It's a fake out, and I was right. Yeah.
Well, it's Samuel L. Jackson. Nobody wants to see him dead.
Oh, by the way, was there a Pulp Fiction reference at the very end of the movie?
What, which line?
On the fake Sam Jackson grave, there's a line that says, "And he who is the righteous man."
That's a Pulp Fiction reference.
from Ezekiel 20, written on Nick Fury's grave.
That's a Pulp Fiction reference.
I didn't catch that the first time. I was like, wait a minute. Sneaky fucker.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that, if you're looking for that. I don't think any website's actually pointed that out so far, so I'm kind of proud that I noticed that.
Nice catch.
But, anyway, where's it going with this? Oh, yes. So after Nick Fury supposedly dies, Robert Redford, or Alexander Pierce, whatever you want to call him, meets the Captain America later and says, "Okay, we know he's in your apartment. What did he say?" And he said to trust no one, and basically leaves it at that.
Yes.
Meanwhile, he left the data desk where he was in a vending machine in the hospital where Nick Fury was, just so they couldn't take him off him because he knows something weird's going down. So naturally, Alexander Pierce basically says, "Okay, I'm gonna find whoever killed my friend. And I don't care who gets in my way," which is obviously a very veiled threat. Not a very veiled threat.
Yes.
And the very next scene involves like 5,000 people getting into a elevator
at S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters.
At the Triskelion, and which leads to another very fantastic little fight scene.
And may I just say that I loved the line that Captain America did before that fight scene started.
Because he knows something's going on. He sees everyone's nervous. People are grabbing their guns and they're like getting shit ready. One person sweating. I think I mentioned that. Looks around like okay. Before we do this, does anyone want to get out? It's a badass line. It's Chris Evans.
It is
Flawless with it.
Spot on.
And of course, the action scenes in this movie are just so damn good.
They are.
And it's like I think it's easy like that because they're so fast and so intense, and it's just such a thriller feel to it.
So I don't know if the film was sped up or if this is just.
I think it was just the choreography.
So the fight choreography in this is incredible. If you blink, you will miss a move. You will miss a kick. You will miss a dodge. It is spectacular.
No, I completely agree. And that's one thing I like about this movie. And really, I think I realized this movie just how much flexibility Captain America has as a character.
Yes.
More so than any other Marvel superhero. In that this movie is not just a sequel, it's an entirely different genre movie.
It is.
And no other Marvel superhero movie has tried this at this point. And I don't think anyone could pull it off as flawlessly as it is done here.
I agree. I'd say that the first Captain America movie was a time period war mini epic, and
obviously you cannot do that here. So.
No, and this, like you were saying, is an entirely different genre. It's a conspiracy thriller. It's a spy thriller. It's a mystery. It's an action flick. All in the context of the Marvel / Captain America universe.
And of course, this has like the fastest, most well choreographed fights in any of the Marvel movies. If I do say, I think I can speak for most people when I have to say that.
I concur.
Obviously, my thoughts are a little jumbled as it took me 5 sentences like Porky Pig to say the same fucking thing.
Ebony.
Now there was a villain for Captain America.
Porky Pig. Okay.
I would praise Hydra. Sorry, now I have that image with a Porky Pig with a monocle.
Oh, wow.
Sorry. No, I got that.
Well, if Donald Duck could be a Nazi, why not Porky Pig?
A good point. Two very different companies, though.
Yes.
Where was I? Yes, I was at the elevator.
Yes.
So after that, he basically realized all S.H.I.E.L.D. is turning against him now. He's public enemy number one, so he breaks off, meets up with the Black Widow, who's found the data card and basically can reveal to him who the assassin was, who is, of course, the Winter Soldier, who we did not know up to this point. At this point, he's kind of an enigma.
Yeah, at this point, Black Widow has essentially heard folklore or ghost stories of the Winter Soldier, but the actual sighting has always eluded her.
Yeah, until now, where the stakes have never been higher, and yada yada, unnecessarily epic trailer voice.
Yes.
So meanwhile, they go on their own little experience to try to figure out what's going on, including a couple. And again, this is their character dynamic. They work very well together.
They do.
And just have a great dynamic. It's kind of like the seasoned spy with the person who obviously knows how to take command, but doesn't quite have her skill set.
Yeah, he's very much into to knowing how to get out of situations, but she's more covert. She's more stealthy, and she is obviously more adapted to the current era. So they mesh well together, and their skills and styles complement.
I mean, you can argue that
one another.
I mean, you can argue that Captain America is kind of more of like a strategic mind, while not Scarlett Johansson. Oh, yeah, that too.
Yes.
But Black Widow is more tactical, I think.
Yes.
I think it's probably the best way to kind of compare their two different mindsets. Steve Rogers kind of like is the big picture, like makes up a plan instantaneously, while Black Widow is more instantaneous, tactile.
And she's she's always thinking a few steps ahead.
Yeah. Well, Steve Rogers is much more the planner.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Random adventures. So they find out. I really like that I throw this in there too. They find out because this is in their very relatively unknown Marvel villain, but very big in the Captain America universe, where they find out that the signal, because like the thing is protected by a self-adapting AI kind of malware, which is constantly adapting to counteract hacking attempts to find out what's the data inside. But they can triangulate it to Captain America's old military base
in New Jersey.
And when they get there, they find a barrack that doesn't belong there, and it turns out it was like S.H.I.E.L.D.'s original operating base, which is founded by Miss Carter and Harrison Ford from the first movie, as well as
John Stark.
Howard Stark.
Howard Stark, thank you.
Howard Stark. But they find a secret room where it turns out it housed like this big, huge, old computer system, which turns out to be Zola, Professor Zola from the comic books. Now, I don't expect a lot of people to know this without really getting deep into your comic book folklore, but in the comic books, Zola is a lot of like what you see in the movie, actually, except it has a whole like robotic body. His chest like a big, huge like TV screen that shows his face on there, much like they do in the movie, and his head's like a camera, kind of like that's what they're referencing with the camera on top of the computer monitor. Of course, they teased this. They referenced this in the first Captain America movie. In this one, they kind of bring more to form, which makes you wonder if in the third movie they're just going to have the whole fucking robot body and just complete the process, which would actually be kind of cool. It's a fun nod to that particular kind of over-the-top cheesy character, because it is, let's face it, it's kind of a cheesy character.
Yes.
And that's when it revealed, turns out that Hydra's been infiltrating the world system for years.
Within the confines of S.H.I.E.L.D. itself. With
confines of S.H.I.E.L.D. itself, because they realize that, this is where it kind of gets more like the political talk, where it goes like, it's the whole freedom versus security debate, which has actually been very prevalent in the past few years.
Yep. Especially with the Patriot Act.
Well, that's a whole other topic. I don't think, the movie's smart, but I don't think it's quite smart enough to make a serious political statement on the Patriot Act, but...
Fair enough.
But and it knows that, so it touches that line, but doesn't straight too much into it, like trying to make a real preachy statement. I preached a little bit, not too much, but
Not too heavily.
not excessively.
Yeah.
So, Zola, who talks very much like the old stereotypical German or Swiss.
Which is very creepy if you are of somebody of my
Oh, yes.
culture.
I did not think about that.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's an extra little layer of terror there for you.
Yes.
But of course, it's almost kind of like a Bond villain, though, at the same time, because it's a living computer. He goes like, "You're standing in my brain." It's like, "I've been stolen, Captain," and like, kind of like how Red Skull was just a little bit cheesy in the first movie, because he had that kind of ridiculous German accent thing going on. It's almost hard to take that accent very seriously, at least in today's day and age.
Fair enough. But it's...
I mean, granted, from a historical context, totally, like, see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I don't understand it necessarily because I don't come from that culture, so I'm not even going to pretend to say that I do. However, at the same time, from a movie standpoint, it's kind of hard to take that kind of accent seriously because you associate it with just the pure evil, Hail Hydra, la 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 la, you know, kind of thing. Let's face it, Hydra is another version of Cobra. They just kill each other. That's really the only difference.
Okay.
That's basically the only difference. In fact, I think Community just made fun of that last week.
I saw a clip of that.
But he basically turns out, yes, we've been infiltrating a shield for years. Now we're going to use the Project Insight to kill all the free thinkers and everyone who could possibly be a threat. All the John Carters and all that. Not John Carters. Terminator dude.
Yeah, John Connor.
John Connor. I was off by a couple letters.
Yes.
All the John Connors and all that stuff, and it's like, oh shit, we gotta stop him. So, but they find him. They blow up Zola, but he's pretty okay with it. So I'm assuming he's like transferred himself to another body or something.
To another piece of technology. Which is probably where we'll see the robot body in the third movie. I'm guessing more than likely we'll see Zola again. They've run for the first movie. Makes sense they bring him back for the third. That would be full circle, especially if the third is going to be the last one, which I hope it's not. Please don't retire the character Chris Evans.
I'll still be around for Avengers 3. But,
That's something.
yeah, so it's better than nothing.
Yes.
So after that happens, oh yeah, that's when they meet up with the Falcon again.
Yes.
And we get to see him, and then they get ready for like their final assault, and also my favorite fight scene in the entire movie. Second. After they realized basically what's going on, they wondered why the SHIELD agent on the ship was like, oh shit, why was he on the ship to begin with? And how do you just kidnap a SHIELD officer that easily? It's like, you don't. It was obviously set up because Nick Fury hired the pirates or something like that to be able to get the data that was on the ship, or something along those lines. I forget the exact reasoning, but it was something along those lines.
It's a little...
It's kind of convoluted towards the end. It's a conspiracy movie. You kind of expect that. But anyway, so they find and interrogate the SHIELD officer that was on board the ship at the time.
And this was actually funny. So they interrogate him with Captain America threatening to throw him off of a multi-story building, and he calls Captain America out on his bluff. Oh,
he's like, you wouldn't do that. That's not your style. You're right.
Right.
But it's hers. And Black Widow just goes, bam, like punt kicks him off the ceiling. Falcon catches him. Obviously, that's revealed. Everything's like, we can tell everything about all of you. Your social, like your bank accounts, your blah blah blah, your job history,
your SAT scores, your voting patterns, your health insurance.
We use a Zola algorithm to tell everyone their future in terms of who's the biggest threat and eliminate them. Like kill millions to save control billions kind of thing.
Yeah, kill 20 million people to bring peace and order to 7 billion.
That's kind of always a problem with Hydra, though. Even in the comic books and in the movies, is that there's really not much more motivation to Hydra other than we are evil. We come from Nazis. What do you expect?
Except, at least this is the impression that I got from the first Captain America movie. They are uber Nazis. They are more evil than your average Nazi.
There you go. There's a tagline for you. Hydra, more evil than your ordinary Nazi.
That's the impression I got.
No, that's basically it, too. You're not far off, to be honest. So,
Okay.
so that's all I'm gonna think now. Every time I see Hydra in anything, it's just like a cheesy 80s commercial going, Hydra, more evil than your ordinary Nazi. Coming soon to invade your government.
That's basically what they try to do here.
Yep, so no, it works. I like that. We want you to be more evil than an ordinary Nazi.
Be smarty, come and join the Nazi party.
Watch, someone's gonna take that clip and use it to paint a horrible image of me. If, I ever actually get more known than 5 people. But
I'm the Jewish person here, and I said it. I mean, granted, it's a Mel Brooks reference, but...
now, I just know that I'm gonna go to court one day, and that's gonna be used against me. He goes, would your innocent man say something like this? We want you to be more evil than an ordinary Nazi. Would an innocent man dance like this? Enter the Spider-Man video. He does the splits. It hurts. Anyway.
I can't do the splits. I'm not flexible enough.
Apparently, I can't either. I have way too much fun here. Anyway. And that leads to the part where they're driving on the freeway later on, and that's when the Winter Soldier come in. And this was my favorite scene in the movie.
This was super intense.
Because it was just, that's like where the Winter Soldier as the unstoppable force of nature kind of comes into play, where it just feels like nothing can stop him. And then, so Winter Soldier comes in, literally just jumps on top of the car, rips the agent out, throws him into oncoming traffic, just splat, he's dead. End of story there.
Yep.
And, after a pretty intense little chase scene with Captain America and all that stuff, where it ends with the car flipping over, and in midair, Captain America just fucking punts the door open and slides on the ground as the car goes flying past. I was like, okay, that was fucking awesome.
Yes, for a second there, I thought he was riding his shield on the pavement kind of like a sled.
It kind of was that too, but so then they have a big, large scuffle, things explode, all that stuff, and then it ends with, I think, one of the best fight scenes I've seen in a long time, which has just involved Captain America versus the Winter Soldier, no holds barred,
Yes.
just completely, just easily just trying to fucking kill each other, and it is just glorious, so fast, like blinking you miss something awesome. Like,
yes, it's like lightning.
like,
and they're very evenly matched.
They are.
Which, as an audience member, is slightly unsettling to see. I mean, it's very satisfying, don't get me wrong, but from my perspective, I'm so used to seeing Captain America being the super soldier. People can't stop him, but this guy can.
Like, I think this is like one of the best fight scenes Marvel movies have ever done, period. Like, it's just so fast-paced, and just, like, the part with the knife where he, like, drops in, like, lets it go. It's like, they're two very evenly matched individuals.
Very.
And it's just great to watch them, like, towards the end, after the Bucky Barnes twist is revealed, it wasn't as good, because you can tell Captain America was holding back a little bit. But this one was like, no, they don't know who each other are, they're just trying to fucking kill each other. And it's amazing to watch, edge of your seat stuff. And I loved every second of it. I would watch it again and again and again it's kind of like, and the fact that it's all practical effects, too, adds an extra layer of interest to it. Well, except for, like, one or two, maybe, like, small action shots of the shield. But for the most part, it's all through just a very, very well done choreography and just skill from the actors, and it's just a lot of fun to watch.
It is.
But like, the only thing Marvel scene I can kind of think of that comes close, or like any superhero movies I think come close, is like the last fight scene from the Incredible Hulk, and the last fight scene from Man of Steel. But those both require CGI, though, so I don't think it's on the same level.
I agree. I think practical effects trumps CGI almost every time.
Yeah, I mean, of course, obviously, except for cases like Superman, where you kind of need CGI effects, and the Hulk, too, for that matter. But not that the old 80s Incredible Hulk series wasn't good, but let's face it, not quite to today's standards.
No.
But anyway, so then we fast forward a bit to the climax of the movie, where it ends up to have to, like, where where they get captured, and it turns out Maria Hill from the Avengers is there, and they free him, and then they go back to find Nick Fury, and this is where, like, the real game changer is going to be for the Marvel Universe, and I'm really curious to see how special this affects the TV show.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., because basically it's like, no, we can't just take down the 3 helicarriers, we gotta take down S.H.I.E.L.D.
Because S.H.I.E.L.D., Hydra, same difference.
Pretty much. Basically, it's too far gone now. It's like there's no point in trying to salvage it. It's gone. It needs to go. So the movie fast forward goes on with the final confrontations, where it's those Falcon, Black Widow, and Captain America all doing their various action scenes, and
all to try to basically disable these warheads and aircrafts to basically stop Project Insight.
Yeah, and basically turn all guns against each other.
Yes.
So you have from there you kind of have the scenes you expect. You have the Falcon finally showing off the wings, which is awesome, and all the flying around.
It is glorious to watch. I loved it.
And I love the fucking Uzis, Uzi dispensers he has, like, in those hip bones, where it's like, boom, 2 Uzis all of a sudden. I think there was a couple on the wings, too, which is pretty cool.
That was cool. It was sad to see his wings get broken, but he took it in stride with a parachute.
Yeah, and it shows the unstoppable nature of the Winter Soldier, because, like, before they go on the helicarrier, Steve Rogers has a big old speech about trying to rouse everyone up to try to, like, rise against the evil Hydra for freedom in America. It's good, and, you know, all that kind of stuff you expect from Captain America.
Yes.
But meanwhile, it's like, we have to go help Captain America. Winter Soldier comes in. Nope. Just blows up all the planes, takes one off for himself, goes off to fight Captain America on the last helicarrier, which, again, the final confrontation, you expect that.
Yes.
At that point, Captain America knows that he's Bucky Barnes, and he goes to the whole, I believe in you, man. I know I can pull you out of this.
Well, he tries to, and he tells the Winter Soldier, I know you. I don't want to.
Because it's worth knowing that Bucky Barnes.
You.
Yeah, it's worth knowing Bucky Barnes is brainwashed at this point. He doesn't remember anything.
Yes, and he's been brainwashed multiple times. At least that's
the implication. Yeah.
Yes, and so he doesn't remember Captain America. He doesn't remember their friendship. He doesn't even remember his own identity. All he knows is that Captain America is his mission, and I almost teared up at this line. Captain America says, "Well, then finish it because I'm with you till the end of the line."
Which is a callback to a previous scene they showed in the movie. And I like that scene. I thought it was a pretty good scene. But no, and like Bucky Barnes is a very interesting character in the comic books. I'm glad to see like some of that depth is starting to kind of like come through in the movies too, and I can't wait to see what they do with basically part 2 of this movie.
I would like to see him get his identity back, or at least some memories.
They were gonna do that. You know they're gonna.
I hope so.
I mean, I could spoil it because I know what happens in the comics, but I don't want to give anything away, so I'm gonna try to hush. But just from a movie standpoint, it's more than likely.
Okay.
That's what's gonna happen. But, what was I gonna say?
So they...
Oh, yeah. And just on a side note real quick, they're actually... I haven't officially read the Winter Soldier storyline. I've read parts of it. I haven't read the whole thing. I want to get the big old Ed Brubaker Captain America collection, because it's like it's like some of the best Captain America material. But and that's where the story came from. I think actually the author actually makes a cameo in this movie. I forget where, but I'm pretty sure he does.
I liked Stan Lee's cameo.
Oh, Stan Lee's cameo. There's also an Abed cameo from Community.
I thought that I caught that. Yes.
Yeah, because the directors of this movie actually work on the show Community, so it's kind of a little nod to that too.
Nice.
But oh yeah. The scene where it's revealed who Bucky is, and when the mask gets ripped off, and Captain America looks at him, he just goes, "Bucky?" And then he goes, "Who the hell is Bucky?" That's a line taken directly from the comic books. Like, directly from that reveal for the first time. And so again, the fact that moment's here is a big deal.
It's well acted.
Yeah. So it was a big deal in the comic books, it's a big deal now. So, I know I've been kind of talking a lot about just the effects that this has in the comics. Keep in mind, like I said, this was a huge deal. And like back in the day when this happened, that's like if he brought Uncle Ben back permanently.
As if Spider-Man fans aren't pissed off enough.
Well, that's a whole nother topic. But my point is, like, that's how big of a reveal this was at the time. It's like, I brought someone at the time, like, no, leave that character alone. Do not touch him.
Yes.
So it's like, again, I just want to emphasize the importance of this because it was a huge deal way back in the day. Wow, I feel old now. I remember reading about this in Wizard Magazine when I was a kid. That's how long ago it was. I don't know if Wizard Magazine's still going. I'm presuming it is, but...
Hard to tell.
Anyway, so now we're on the helicarriers.
Yes, now we're on the helicarriers. Why do I have difficulty saying that? Anyway, there are 3 of them, and they basically need to swap some sort of chip in order to get them under their control and away from Hydra's control.
Yeah, and of course you kind of know what happens. Falcon gets one, a pretty cool sequence. Captain America gets one pretty easily in the first go-around. And then he gets to the last one. Meanwhile, Nick Fury and Black Widow basically confronted Alexander Pierce and are basically going to release all the secrets, the S.H.I.E.L.D. secrets, onto the internet.
Including Black Widow's own past.
Own past, which I'm assuming they'll either explore in Captain America 3 or Avengers 2. One or the other, I'm sure. But,
Black Widow is never going to get her own movie, is she?
Probably not.
Okay.
I know people want it, but from what I've heard from the producers and stuff like that, it doesn't seem likely. But
oh well.
Sooner or later, there will be a strong female protagonist that will get her own goddamn movie.
That would be nice.
Like, maybe Miss Marvel will finally break the pattern. I don't know if they're ever going to make that one, but...
Well, she would need to be introduced in one of the Avengers films.
There's actually been talk of her maybe appearing in Avengers 2 or 3, so it's actually possible.
Okay.
So, I don't know if you know who Miss Marvel is.
A tiny bit. I recently watched Linkara's Atop the Fourth Wall episode about Avengers 200.
Okay, so you know a little bit about who Miss Marvel is, but yeah, there's talks about her being in the Avengers too. I think right now it's just a rumor. So
Okay.
Anyway, so from that point, it basically becomes a movie you expect. They release all the stuff on the internet. The bad guys get defeated.
It is very intense though. Like they don't get the last helicarrier under their control until there were like 5 seconds left or less.
The usual kind of thing you expect from a thriller.
It is very suspenseful.
It is very suspenseful. Don't get me wrong. I mean to downplay it. It's done very well, but it's like at that point, it does kind of follow the notes you expect it to follow. Where at that point, Captain America and Bucky Barnes have had their big emotional thing, and it turns out the last minute, Bucky Barnes comes around and he saves Captain America from drowning in the waters again, and he just kind of disappears after that until like the very end credit scene.
I'm kind of...
Where it's implied that he remembers who he is, or at least is trying to figure it out.
By going to the Smithsonian and seeing old pictures of himself.
Yeah. So, and stuff like that. And at that point, the movie ends with the S.H.I.E.L.D. is gone, for all intents and purposes.
But Hydra is not.
But Hydra is not, yes. Then that's another end credit reveal.
Yes.
Which has big implications for Avengers 2 and for comic fans. For most non-comic fans, you probably missed the point entirely.
Yes, I asked you to enlighten me on it.
And I'll enlighten you again when we get to it in a couple minutes. But, yeah, ends him on the grave, basically says, you're going after the Winter Soldier, aren't you? He goes, yes. When should we start? And then cuts the credits. As you assume, in Captain America 3 will involve the Falcon and Steve Rogers having adventures, trying to find Winter Soldier. And Winter Soldier probably turning to the side of the Angels, more than likely. I say probably, because who knows what they're going to do for the third movie.
This is kind of a small detail, but is Captain America going to find his shield? Because it kind of fell.
Presumably, yes.
Okay.
But meanwhile, it turns out like there's Scarlet not Scarlet Witch. I keep saying Scarlet Witch. I don't want to. No, different character, entirely different character.
Black Widow.
Black Widow has like a big speech to like Congress or a congressional hearing. Basically, yeah, we've done some shit, but you're not gonna arrest us.
Pretty
like,
much.
S.H.I.E.L.D. is gone. We're all you've got. Is basically what it comes down to.
If you want to arrest me, arrest me.
Yep. But of course they don't arrest her, and she'll be in Avengers 2.
Yep.
So that's Captain America 2, and of course the end reveal credit, the first end reveal credit, which is halfway point.
There are two.
Yeah, there are two. First one takes place in the mid. Last takes place at the end. Mid one is more interesting in my opinion.
I agree.
But it introduces a new villain, which is Baron von Strucker, who is kind of in the same vein as the Red Skull, as in he's just kind of the evil German Hydra agent. But not a terribly complex villain, as like he even has like an evil monocle.
Yes, he does.
But it was interesting though is a couple of revelations it reveals about what's going to happen in the Avengers, which turns out they have Loki's staff, which is big reveal number one.
Okay.
But from the Avengers, you recognized it, right?
I recognized the stone. There were force fields around it, so I didn't recognize the stick.
Yeah, it's Loki's staff from the Avengers. And with it turns out they says when but then what if they find us? Like, oh, if they find us, we'll be fine. Basically, kind of basically, it's like, what about our experiments? Like, oh, the dead will protect them. What about the survivors? Like, the twins, and that's like the big reveal to Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, also known as the closest thing we're gonna get to an X-Men crossover that we're ever gonna get with these movies. But for those who do not know, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are both previous X-Men characters and Avengers characters, which is why the rights to them are really confusing. Because right now,
that makes sense.
Those same characters are also appearing in the next X-Men movie, which we'll talk about in a bit.
Yes.
But they're also appearing in Avengers too, so it's kind of wondering how we're going to differentiate the two. Avengers are probably going to win out, to be honest. But,
probably. I mean, the X-Men movies have gotten better, I think.
But it's, at this point, the Avengers are just above all Marvel properties right now.
Yes.
But a few interesting things here. Right now, like, all movies up to this point have been teasing the Infinity Gems, which we saw the Tesseract in the Avengers, which is one Infinity Gem.
Yes.
We saw whatever it was in Thor 2, that was another one. The little red liquid thing, I forget what it's called.
Yeah, I forget what it's called too, but I...
You know what I'm talking about, though,
yes,
because you were there with me.
The red one.
The red one, yep. And there's rumors right now that the... I'm inclined to believe him on this one, that the stone in Loki's staff is what's called the Mind Gem, which is why everyone who gets touched by it is instantly brainwashed and that kind of thing.
That makes sense.
So that would be gem number 3. 3 out of 6, I think there is. Or 3 out of 5 or 6.
Halfway there.
So, yeah, so we're about halfway there. This has not been confirmed yet. This is speculation. But what's interesting, though, is that Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver have both been confirmed to be a big part of the Avengers, too. So that's why they wanted to use those characters in this movie now. To kind of get that... Because presumably... the movie's probably going to start out with the Avengers stopping Baron von Strucker and releasing the twins, and then a subplot in the movie is going to be kind of rehabilitating them, I'm assuming.
Because it's implied that they're being brainwashed and being experimented upon and so on and so forth.
Yes. So their exact role is not determined yet. I'm assuming it's going to be fairly big, though. So, and plus, of course, everyone knows has Ultron, and Ultron with the Mind Gem could be very interesting. So, Ultron, again, very obscure villain in the comic books. To the modern audience, very well known to comic book fans. So, yeah, that's pretty much all there is worth to talk about.
And the other after credit scene, after all of the credits stop rolling, is the one we alluded to earlier, where Bucky goes to the Smithsonian to try to remember who he was.
Yes.
And that's it. And now trailers.
Yes, which are on my phone, which I dropped in the backseat.
So we got all comic book trailers and Godzilla, which I know you're very excited about Godzilla. Although I do have one nitpick about Godzilla, but we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
So the first trailer we got was Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yes, hopefully the last fucking time I'll see this goddamn trailer.
This was actually my first time seeing it.
Really?
Yes.
Like, I've been seeing this trailer for every movie I've seen for the past month. I was like, okay, I get it. Spider-Man 2's coming. Can we move on, please?
I'm looking forward to it.
No, the more I see it, the more I'm liking it. I still have my concerns about it, but, you know, I'm willing to wait it out, see what happens.
So, I couldn't tell who the villain we're getting in Spider-Man 2 is.
We're getting 3.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, that's why people are concerned. The main one is going to be Electro. That one's pretty much confirmed, which is, of course, played by Jamie Foxx. And
interesting choice.
Oh, it looks like he's going to do a great job at it. So.
Oh, he's a great actor. I just...
You want an odd choice. And the second one, I guess is playing like a bit part, so it's not that big of a deal, is Paul Giamatti as the Rhino.
Yeah.
And the last one is going to be, I forget his name, but he's the main villain in Chronicles, playing the Green Goblin.
Okay.
Also known as Harry Osborn, who we saw in the trailer.
Yes.
So those are the main villains in there. It looks like Electro and Green Goblin are kind of like the two main ones. Electro taking primary stage, Green Goblin taking probably going to be the final confrontation.
And it's implied in the trailer that Peter Parker and Spider-Man are going to get more caught up in the conspiracy of Oscorp. Yep,
that seems to be the implication. Of course, they made allusions to like Dr. Octopus and the Vulture. You sound like little flashes in the background. And so, I don't know. I'm curious. I mean, they're playing a Sinister Six movie and a Venom movie, so I'll be curious to see what they do with that.
Indeed. But I'm looking forward to it. So that was the first trailer we got. Then
Next one, I am very excited for this one. Guardians of the Galaxy.
now
I can't fucking wait.
the only things that I know about them are what you've told me.
Yes,
But that aside, this movie just looks like fun. So I can't wait either.
It has Bradley Cooper playing a raccoon with a machine gun. What the fuck else do you want?
Well, apparently, Wes wants him to have a
Swearing, yeah.
a potty mouth, so the movie will have an R rating.
Not a PG-13. No, the character's been changed since Wes's time, since he's read it, so I don't think it's quite that foul. But I just know it has Vin Diesel as a talking tree, and Bradley Cooper as a talking raccoon, and green chicks and wrestlers in red face paint.
Sign me up.
So it's like, again,
Sounds like fun
the
to me.
fuck else do you want? And
Huh?
it's like, what's that joke that's been going around? It's like a tweet that says, Warner Brothers are like, oh, we can't make a Wonder Woman movie. Her history's too complex to make a movie. And Marvel's like, here's a raccoon with a machine gun.
Basically.
Yeah.
And the only reason why they are too chicken to make a Wonder Woman movie is because not many people know how to write women as women instead of objects.
Well, we'll see how she does in Batman vs. Superman. She's in it, by the way.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. So next we got X-Men Days of Future Past.
So this I am very kind of curious to see. Admittedly, the last X-Men movie I saw was X3, and I kind of...
That's a bad note to leave it on.
Yeah, so I haven't seen First Class yet. I haven't seen either of the Wolverines.
Just don't even bother with the first one. Just go see the second one. The second one's better.
That's what I've heard. So I'm kind of curious to see how this works.
It is based on a classic X-Men storyline. Not a very long one. I think it only went on for like 2 issues. But it was Kitty Pryde who went back in time rather than Wolverine. So they're kind of mixing that up a little bit. I'm assuming that's because Kitty Pryde has not been very well established in X Movies.
That and Wolverine is their most popular character.
That too, yeah. Every time they get fit Hugh Jackman in, they'll do it.
Yep.
But I don't know. I think the second trailer makes it look a lot better than this one does. This is the first trailer that was released.
Okay.
But it does have, of course, Sentinels. It does have a lot of futuristic aspects. I'm curious about it. I think it's a big gamble for X-Men, so I'm curious to see how they'll pull it off.
Seeing the Sentinels would be intriguing.
Yeah, so the Sentinels are for sure in this movie. We've seen them in action. We know they're there. So, and of course it has Peter Dinklage, also known as what's his name? The little guy in Game of Thrones that everyone loves.
Oh, Tyrion.
Tyrion, yeah. Tyrion's in the movie. He plays the main villain.
Oh, cool.
So, who makes all the Sentinels and stuff like that. So
He's a great actor.
Fantastic actor. Great to see him gain accepted in bigger roles.
Yes.
And last we got the one, of course, as I mentioned before, I'm very excited about Godzilla. I can't wait. I am just ecstatic.
Yes, I can tell that you're a huge Godzilla fan.
I've said it before, I'll say it again. I have every one of the fucking movies.
Okay, so here's my one quip with the Godzilla mythos.
All right.
In the very first Godzilla movie,
He was a. What's the word I'm looking for?
They kill him. In the very first black and white Godzilla movie,
Yeah.
the oxygen
Destroyer. Yep.
destroyer completely disintegrates him. He's dead. What? And yet, how?
Well, first off, it's not a sequel to the first one.
Well, okay.
It's not a sequel. They've confirmed that.
All right.
So this has nothing to do with the events of the first movie. They do make a reference to it, the 1954 thing, but it's not a direct sequel. So don't make that mistake.
All right.
Second one, I believe they make some BS excuse, but basically it says like either there's more than one Godzilla, or like he managed to regenerate or some bullshit like that.
Yeah, because I watched the Godzilla 1984, and they just blew off the 1954 one with a throwaway line saying, "Oh, we never found a corpse." Well, of course you never found a corpse because you dissolved it.
Okay, calm down.
I told you, this bugs me. It does not make sense.
It's
it.
a giant monster that was in a rubber suit for 50 years. You expect it to make sense?
Logic. It does not compute in my mind.
There was a movie where he fought alongside a giant, brightly colored robot and find a giant beetle.
Godzilla versus Mecha Godzilla.
No, Godzilla versus Megalon. No, Godzilla versus That's another thing. He fought a robot version of himself.
Yes.
4 times. No, 5 times. He fought a giant moth in the 3rd movie he was in. Clearly, we're not going much for logic here.
I did.
A moth, by the way, that is helped by 2 little miniature people that are the size of Polly Pockets, who've sing songs to calm monsters down.
I did like the King Kong versus Godzilla.
Okay, but you get my point.
I do, but you can understand my...
True. My point is there's some cases where it's like, you know what, I'll just let it go.
Okay. But, yes, that was the last trailer we got, and, Bryan Cranston, aka Walter White, is in it.
Yep. Can't wait for it. Apparently there's also 1 or 2 other monsters in this movie besides Godzilla. I think it's one that's called like Muto or something like that. Is what they're calling it. You can see it's very, very blink and you'll miss it, like flash of him in the trailer actually, where it's like a little spider leg. But
Okay.
it's only there for like a second. You blink and you miss him. The most recent trailer you can actually like pause at the right time. You can see his face a little bit. But so we know Godzilla's kind of played like an anti-hero role towards the end of the movie at some point. We don't know what exactly. They're being hush-hush about it. But either way, I'm really excited. I think it's going to be pretty good. So
Definitely better than the 90s one.
Anything's better than the 90s one. So yeah, Captain America 2. Go see it.
Yes, agreed.
I think we said literally everything we have to say about it. Great action, great acting, great story. A bit convoluted, but that's really my only real complaint about it.
Yeah, great practical effects, great choreography, great editing, just A's across the board.
Yep. So there you go. Best movie of the year so far, or one of.
One of,
Yep.
yes.
So that's it for today. See you all later with whatever the hell else we're seeing. So.
Bye.